boys and girls. In this video, I am going to be doing your math lesson with you today. All of you should have your math books at home. I sent these home with your parents when we had them come in to pick up all of your distance learning materials. And today, if you open up your math books, we're going to be starting chapter 14, which deals with equal shares, or fractions is another thing that we call them. And if you open up to the first page for lesson 14.1, it begins on page 533. So I'm going to go ahead and get this page up on the screen for you, and I will go through the lesson with you today here on the whiteboard, as well as over here on the screen. So once you have your book open and ready to page 533, we can get started. Okay, so it says here equal shares. Vincent draws a rectangle with 4 equal parts. Each part is an equal share of the rectangle, which shows Vincent's rectangle. So boys and girls, what it's asking us to do is find the rectangle where all of the different parts are the same size. We know that the word equal means the same. And now that we're learning about that word shares, equal shares, a way to think of that is equal parts. And in this case, we're going to call them shares. Think about it like if you were cutting something up to share with your friends and you wanted everyone to have an equal part, we'd call those equal shares. So looking at these two rectangles, we can see that in this rectangle, the red, blue, yellow, and green are all the same size. They are equal. So we would say that this rectangle has equal shares. Now, if we look at this rectangle on this side, you can see that these 4 parts are not the same size. We see that the green is very tiny, the yellow is very large, and then the pink and blue are about medium size, but still the pink is even smaller than the blue. So those are not equal. They are not the same size. And so we would say that they don't have equal shares in that rectangle. So here again, it reminds us that equal means the same as, and equal shares are parts that are the same size. So the first rectangle is the one that Vincent draws because it has equal shares. So if we look down now where it says practice, it says circle the shape with equal shares. Then write how many equal shares. So they always give you an example to help you understand what they're looking for. So this first one, they circled that this circle is the one that has equal parts or equal shares. And we can see that because all 4 parts are the same. Looking at this circle, yes, they broke it into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, but they're all different shapes and sizes. So they're not the same, they're not equal. So they circled this first circle, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts or 4 equal shares. So go ahead and trace that number 4 to show that you understand that this circle has 4 equal shares and there are 4 equal shares. So now we're going to look here at this orange square, and they are both broken into how many parts? If you said 2, you're right. So here on this line, you should write the number 2. Now, one of these has 2 parts that are the exact same size and shape, and the other one does not. So which one of these squares has 2 parts that are equal, that are the same size and shape? If you said the first one, you're absolutely right. So you can go ahead and circle that first square. All right. Looking at number 3, we have 2 different rhombuses. Sometimes we call those diamonds. One of them is split right down the center, and then this one, you see there's a line through it breaking it into 2 parts, but they aren't the exact same size. So to answer the question, how many equal shares are there? There are 2. So on the line here next to equal shares, you should put the number 2. Now, which one of these has parts that are the same size and shape? It would be that first one. So go ahead and circle that first rhombus and make sure you have the number 2 for equal shares. If this is feeling easy for you, if you're like, wow, Mrs. Bragg, this is really easy, that's good. Because I tell you guys all the time that if something is easy for you, that means you're good at it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It doesn't mean that it's too easy and it doesn't have any value. If something's easy, keep doing it. That means you're good at it. Looking at number 4, we have purple triangles that are broken up into 2 parts. So for equal shares, we're going to say 2 equal shares. And now we have to decide which one of them has 2 equal shares. And sometimes it gets tricky because they'll be very close to being the same. But we need to look carefully and make sure we choose the one where if we were to lay the parts on top of one another, they would be identical. And so in this case, the one that has equal, the same, would be the second one. So make sure that you circle that second purple triangle. And now if you turn your page, I'm going to scroll down, looking at this next practice part. We're doing the same thing again. Circle the shape with equal shares and then write how many. So looking at our circles, I can see that they are broken into 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each of them are broken into 4 pieces, 4 parts, or 4 shares. But it's asking us which one has equal shares. So which one has shares that are the same? Well, looking here, while there's 4 here, they're all a little bit different shape and size. So I'm going to circle this second one to show that all 4 of those parts are the same. That circle has 4 equal shares. So we'll put 4 on the line and we'll circle the one with 4 equal shares. Go ahead right now and try to do this one, number 6, on your own. Write how many equal shares here and then circle the one that has the equal shares. Do that real quick. If you said 2 equal shares and you circled this first rectangle, you are absolutely correct. Great job. Let's move down to the problem solving now. Number 7 says, Aaron wants to share his sandwich. He wants to share it equally with his friend Eric. So show how he can do this. Now, I'm going to draw here on my whiteboard a picture that looks kind of like the sandwich that you have in your book. And then we've got, let's see, a tomato sticking out of each corner. You get the general idea here, okay? Now, we want to divide this sandwich into 2 parts, one for Aaron and one for Eric. And we want them each to have the same size and shape. So there's a couple ways that we could do that. One way would be we could cut it right down the middle like this, and then they would each have half of the sandwich or an equal share. Another way, if you chose not to do it that way, another way we could divide it would be across this way. And now they would each have an equal size piece or an equal share. There's another way that we could do it. And again, any one of these is fine. You can choose the one that you want so long as they each have an equal piece. When I like to cut a sandwich in half, I usually go from corner to corner. So I would give each boy a triangle. Your choice how you choose to divide it. Just make sure that when you divide it, you have the same size and shape on each side. You wouldn't want to go like this and say this is one half and that's the other, because obviously These are two different sizes and shapes. So go ahead right now on your sandwich here and draw a line, either straight down, straight across, or you could go on a diagonal. Just make sure that your pieces are the same size and shape. Okay? All right. Number 8 says, how can you draw a square with 4 equal shares? And then it says, is there more than one way? Well, we just discussed when we were looking at the sandwich that, yeah, there is more than one way. So in this space here, I want you to go ahead and draw yourself some squares. And when we're drawing our squares, they might not look completely perfect, but just do your best, okay? I'm looking for you to do your best. So all my squares, it's as good as I can get them. And I'm going to show different ways that I can show 4 equal shares. So one way I could do that would be to cut down and across. Now I have broken my square into 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller squares, 4 equal parts or 4 equal shares. Okay? Another way that I could divide up my sandwich would be to go from corner to corner like we talked about. Now I've divided it into 4 equal triangles. Another way that I could break my square apart would be kind of like what we did on the first page with the rectangle, where we break it into 4 equal parts this way. And we could also break it into 4 equal parts this way. Now, there are many different ways that we can divide it into 4 equal shares. I've shown you some of them here. So make sure on your paper here you show at least 2 to show me that there's more than one way to show equal parts. All right, when you are finished with that, we can move on to the next page, which is page 535. And I want you on your own to work through 535 and 536. So 535 and 536, you're going to work through those 2 pages on your own. Okay? And then if you look at your calendar, I don't have a little dojo there today, so you don't need to upload this. When we get to our mid-chapter checkpoint later in the week, I want to see that so I can get an idea of how you're doing. So go ahead on your own right now and complete these 2 pages, and then you can show them to mom or dad or an older brother or sister and make sure that you're understanding the concepts. If you have any questions, you can message me, you can send me a video message, you can send me a typed message, however you'd like to on Dojo. I think today's will be pretty easy for you. So go ahead and get those 2 pages done, and I will see you in a bit for our next subject. Bye!